Hello friends, this is Python for Everyone and a video tutorial about for loops. For loops are a way to step through a sequence of items one at a time. In the last two lessons we learned about variable types, the dictionary and the list that are sequences of items. And now we're going to learn about syntax that lets us go through those one at a time so that no matter how many items are in the sequence, be it 1 or 1,000,000, we can do something to each of those items without knowing how big the sequence is. So let's take a look at the code. Okay, so here we have two for loops. One for the to-do list that we did in a previous section and one for the dictionary that we did in a previous section, the animals dictionary that we did in a previous section. And the key observation about the for loop is that execution in the for loop is going to loop back around. We're going to run the code in the body of the loops repeatedly depending on how many elements are in the sequence. The for loop starts with the word for and then has the name of a variable. That name can be anything. I've used names that sort of represent what's in the list, but you could name them A or B or Bob or whatever you like. Then comes the word in, and then finally a thing that produces a sequence. Now there's lots of things in Python that produce sequences, but I'm going to start with the lists and dictionaries that we learned in the previous lessons. All right, so let's get ready to go. Okay, let's start execution. The first thing we're going to do is create our to-do list. Okay, you see that the to-do list is there. It's a list. It's got 3 elements, 0, 1, and 2. And now we're going to step through the first trip through our for loop. And you're going to see that a variable called item just appeared. Item is a variable in our program. It's named after the for, and it can be any name you like. That item variable is going to hold the elements of the list one at a time, once for each trip we make through the loop. So let's make some trips through the loop. Item is equal to eat, that's the first element in the list. Okay, now item is sleep, that's the second element in the list. Now item is program, that's the final element in the list. And now I hop back up to line 2, there are no more elements in the list, so the for loop exits and we jump down to the next line after the for loop. The for loop always runs exactly the number of times as there are elements in the array. So that's the array case. What about a dictionary? Well, a dictionary is also a collection. Let's go define our dictionary. I put 2 key value pairs in my dictionary, lion and tiger. And now we're going to use a for loop. It looks just like the for loop we did for the list, except we're going to say for key. Key is just a variable I made up in animals. And animals, when used as a sequence, is going to produce a sequence of keys. So this for loop is going to go through once for every key in the animals dictionary. So here we can see a key, a variable has been created named key, and that key contains the word lion, the first key in the dictionary. We're going to step through, go back to the for, and now key contains tiger, the second key in the dictionary. Step through, run line 8, and now the dictionary is out of values. There's no more keys in there, so the for loop is going to come to an end. Pretty amazing. The for loop gives us a lot of power. These are simple versions of the for loop that I've shown you. The thing to really take away from this lesson is that the for loop is stepping through the dictionary and the list one element at a time. So the code inside of the for loop is going to run once for each item, and each individual item as it stepped through the list is going to be received by the for loop variable. Okay, so if you're looking for the code for this example, go into the description of the video. You'll find the for loops there. Change around the items in the for loop. Change around the contents of the loop bodies. See if you can get your mind around what's going on when you run these loops. And remember, the execution is being repeated once for each element in the sequence. That's the most important takeaway you can take from this lesson. The for loop is a really powerful tool, and there's many more forms of the for loop that you'll learn as you get more experience programming in Python. Also, if you go to the link to my GitHub, my Python for Everyone course has lessons in there that you can run in the Jupyter Notebook that have a lot more interesting for loops and things you can do with the for loops that are pretty cool. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed it. This has been another lesson from Python for Everyone.